Let's go. Alright, so I made a couple deck guides over the last few days that haven't been working out too well because I just don't really want to play Golden Neckar anymore. I'm tired of seeing it, tired of playing it, and if I can avoid it, you know, I'm going to try and avoid it when I'm making my deck guides. So did a couple decks, they weren't working so well, but I decided to go back to something that's more control focused, and I think that's where the problem was, right? I had decks like Ysgith and things that were very boosty and couldn't deal with a lot of the problems at hand, whereas this deck here is a good classic swarm with tons of control and removal. So this is going to be my updated version for 10.5, and I'm really liking the way that it rolls out, even if we don't have cards like Ring of Favor. I couldn't fit it. And you could argue that maybe it's still worth putting in and taking out something like the Toriville or, you know, something of that sort, but I just don't think it's worth it. I think we're supposed to keep Ring of Favor out and keep cards like this in, because with all the relics going around, with all the precision strike dwarfs going around with armor that we want to get rid of, with all, you know, even Syndicate goes wide with their Bronze End, the Firesworn package. We've got Scoia'tael with the discard package. I don't think that there's ever going to be a time right now where this card doesn't get some good value. So I wanted to keep it in there at the expense of Ring of Favor, and that's pretty much it. What I did, because if we don't use Ring of Favor, it acts as a thin, right? So what I did in exchange for Ring of Favor is I went and I put Vial of Forbidden Knowledge, because this here will thin out of our deck if we're playing against, you know, someone that also has it, right? So it's going to be an automatic thin of our deck in round 1, turn 1. So when about 80% of the matchups that I'm playing against right now are Golden Neckar matchups, a lot of people are running Vial of Forbidden Knowledge as like a cheap artifact within the deck. So oftentimes we are getting this, you know, thinned out quite early, which is nice. It also teaches us how to play into the matchup, you know, from the beginning. So I like it for that reason. But to go through the deck here, we have Feigned Death, which is a scenario that progresses whenever we play an elf. So on the prologue, meaning when we play this card, we're going to be getting a Vernaciel's Commando in the row. So it's just a 1-point boost per turn type thing. If we control only elves, ignore the condition if we control Vernaciel, right? So we do have Vernaciel in the deck. Eventually we'll play her in the same round most often, but sometimes we don't. Now, fortunately, we don't really have many cards that aren't elves in the deck. Squirrel would be an exception. Alyssa would be an exception, but you don't always have to play these two cards in a round scenario anyways, so it works out quite well. So when we play an elf, we're going to be able to spawn 2 Deadeye in the row, and then when we play a second elf, we're going to be able to spawn and play a Waylay, right? So damage unit by 3, spawn a Deadeye in the random row. So this is playing for 6 points, essentially. This is playing for the 3, and this is just going to be an engine that's coming out of the scenario. So that's going to add up to quite a few points because we are swarming, and we have payoff cards like Isengram, which is going to be boosting all other elf units by 1. Right? So you can imagine if we have this down after spawning a lot of Deadeye, it's going to give us quite a few points. We've got cards like Yavin that are good payoffs, deploy damage an enemy unit by the number of elves in this row, so we want to fill the row up for that card. We've got other cards as well, like the Vernaciel. So this here has synergy with the Commando, keeps it going, but at the same time, we get other Deadeyes from that, and Vernaciel has a melee condition that each allied Elven Deadeye does 2 damage to a random enemy unit. So that works quite well. We play this on ranged, we're able to spawn 2 Deadeye, so we have a reactive play and we have a proactive play, and I like the flexibility of that card, especially when they buffed it to 11 provisions a couple patches ago. It feels really smooth to play. One of the main strategies that we're going to be playing in this deck too is looking to get out the Venadane, and despite the nerf to 9 provisions from 7, it got the 1 extra base power. It's really not a big difference. Like, I think the card was just fine before, but it was arguably too strong. So right now it still feels good. And anyways, this card basically lets us recomp our hand a little bit, moving 2 cards from our hand to the bottom of our deck, adding a couple Waylays in our hand. We play those Waylays from our hand, and then once they're played, we look to use Alyssa and put them back in the deck with the other 2 existing waylays that we have in the deck, so that when we take a Simlas later, we're playing 4 waylays off Simlas. Now, if you look at the 4 waylays off Simlas, we've got each waylay accounting for 6 points, right? So we get 24 points off the waylays, and then we've got the 2 off the Simlas. So it's a 26-point swing in one turn, right? Which makes this very hard to compete with. Now, chances are it's not going to be the same round as the Venadane, right? Oftentimes Venadane gets answered anyways before you can play the first 2 waylays that you've created with them, right? But there might be some times where you actually are able to play both them created from him, put them back in the deck, and then take Simlas and play them all again, right? This is possible, but it's not likely. So keep that in mind, right? That's a huge play. Heatwave just feels important because this deck lacks some control. I experimented with a few things. I tried this deck with a couple Rebukes in it. I tried this deck with a Curse of Corruption in it. I just feel like Heatwave is one of those things that you can't go wrong with because we can banish a unit or an artifact. And there's no shortage of both having huge threats going around right now. So that's pretty much it. Now, if I'm comparing this list as well, speaking of like just hard removal, right? What I've noticed in the meta list posted online is that it doesn't have Squirrel. I definitely think that you want to have Squirrel in this meta right now. Squirrel just feels like a win condition because with all the dangerous Echo cards, decks relying on drawing stuff to win, like with Oniromancy, or just having Erendite playing for 17, 18 points, whatever the case may be, it's one of those things that as soon as you see it, you need to get rid of it. And because everyone, like I said, 80% of the matchups right now are running Erendite, look at this Squirrel like a 20-point Squirrel every single game, or 80% of the games that you're playing in. It's just one of those things that you gotta tech in if you want to stay competitive with it, I think, this season. So something you want to have, right? But you'll probably just see that in every deck that I post. And then we're moving on to, I talked about the Swarm payoff here. Aileron's really good because she's going to help us thin out the deck a little bit more, right? We've got the Vial doing that potentially. We've got Oniro for 2 thins. We've got Simlas. But Simlas in this deck's a little bit different than other decks because we're using Simlas generally later. So the initial thinning kind of sucks. So having the Aileron come down early game is actually pretty good, right? We get that 1 extra thin and we can, you know, have a better chance of pulling into the things that we want, right? So that's kind of the idea. Torviel just talked about it here, giving 2 damage to each unit on the end of a row, and then 1 to the entire row. So this can play for tons of points, right? If they have 9 units on the row, oftentimes you'll see with the Relics matchup, you're doing 2, 4, and then 9, right? So you're getting 13 points of damage plus the 4 for 8 provisions. And you can deny Sabbath by doing that. So it just feels like one of those things, right? Or if you're playing against Dwarves, you knock the armor off all of them. It kind of shuts down a Brewer play. It kind of shuts down a Berserker Swarm play. So I think that's pretty cool, right? Hard removal with Yavin, I think it's warranted, right? We need that for sure. We have no problem stacking 9 units on a row. This slamming down is going to be able to take out something up to 9 power. And I think that's a really explosive push that we need. We've got Doblathana Archer we can use a couple different ways. It has good utility, right? On melee, we can damage an enemy unit by 3, and on range, we can damage 2 enemy units by 1. Deathblow, Spawn, Alvin Deadeye in the row. So we can have a potential of getting up to 2 Deadeye, depending on which row we play it on and what the situation allows. Oftentimes, you'll find we're chipping something down maybe with these, and we can get the melee row. But sometimes we find we're hitting 2 waylays off of 4 powers, and we've got a couple awkward ones, and we can just chip those away, because it eventually will be better payoff for some of these than if we just did, you know, the 1, right? So that's kind of how it works there. Spores just feels appropriate because a lot of people are still running Ring of Favor. This is going to be our inexpensive option to go about doing that, just getting rid of it, no problem. And we have a Purify as well to get around Defenders, or to purify Resilience, right? Worst case scenario, something of ours is locked, like a Venadane, or, you know, maybe even something like Swordmaster. We just don't have an offensive target. We can use this defensively and just purify our own unit. And I expect a lot of damage going around right now, especially with the Skellige Reckless Flurry matchup. So I have these Scoia'tael Neophytes in here, and these are essentially just going to be flipping damaged cards back into Deadeye tokens and recuperating points so that we can keep units on the board, keep the swarm strong, and get a better Deadeye swing with the Vernaciel if we need it. So that's pretty much the deck. A couple things you guys can consider. You know, a lock wouldn't be bad, but it just doesn't really fit. Like, you know, you just kind of have to say with this deck, you know, you're not really going to be getting much of a lock. You've got a few lock options, right? The Regare's one. I'd probably go with the Siren here or the Morin, because this is playing an elf. So this kind of synergizes with the bulk of the deck, but also we can use it as a movement tech if we don't have a lock target. That's not a bad idea. This one has 2 damage potentially, right? If we don't need a lock. So again, those are options I didn't go for. Xavier was another option I didn't go for because I think Squirrel is adequate, right? Another really big thing, though, would be Maxii. And as you could see here, how do you fit it all? The only thing I can really think of is if you took out Karathi, put back in Curse to put this in, but I just didn't feel like it was as necessary right now. But again, that's something that I'd really like to have if I could fit it, because we have a lot of stuff going on within the deck and we want to make sure we're pulling into our good cards. But, you know, don't worry too much about it, because we've got, like I said, 2 ways to thin here. A bunch of cards thinned out from this here. You know, Aileron's coming out of deck. This could come out of our deck. We're playing a lot of the cards that we have. And I think there was one game where I missed Oniromancy and we thinned down to 5 cards. I think it was something. No, it was somewhere around there. It was pretty comfortable. We missed Oniromancy. It might have been 7 cards, but with Oniro, it would have been 5. Yeah, so I don't mind that too much, because if we get enough mulligans too throughout the game, we get some of the thins out, and also we're putting stuff at the bottom of the deck with the Venedane, right? So we're putting back like stuff we don't want to see again. So it's helping us funnel through the deck a bit more. So I'm feeling pretty good about this here. But that's pretty much it, guys. I've got 5 or 6 games for you guys today with live commentary for reference. I'm going to be putting the deck link in the description, and I'll put a little note in there about the Maxii and whatever else I could think of. But that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoy the content that you see, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 10K subs, and I think that we're going to get there hopefully by the end of the month. So let's make it happen, and I will see you tomorrow with a new video. Alright, so we got Precision Strike coming up here first, and we go first. Let's see what we're dealing with. I think we're going to be connecting, right? Yeah. So I'm expecting Erendite. I'm expecting the Dwarves one, like the hybrid, basically. We can play them and shuffle them back. I don't mind using something like this to take the round. Really, most of the hand's pretty good. I think maybe we save that, though. Oniro's a little bit more comfortable. Everything else is fine. Whatever. And yeah. It's a bunch of swords and... Okay. We'll get rid of this, I'm guessing, at this point. And then we'll probably have to heat wave this. Ornate Sensor's gonna do nothing though. What would I put to the bottom of my deck? It's probably just gonna be play Venedane and then put back like the Bowman and the Swordmaster, right? Because I kind of want Squirrel. It's important. We're going to get one of the swords gone. This might be hard to get through armor with, though. Actually, one of the skirms. Yeah, let's put these back. We want to get as many whalers as possible. should just be fine. If we can get this just to stick for like a turn or two, right? It's a little ambitious because the leader, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it would really help us pull away in the round.
The Scoia'tael must the woods abandon. Join us instead and defend the valley.
Okay, so yeah, everything else is deploy. So it's gotta be a heat wave. Not really the temple play that I want to have in this round. I gotta double check to see if they have ring. I don't think they do. So no ring is good. Ornate Sensor is not really going to do much because we have a lot of low-powered cards. Like, they're going to go for it. Okay, they just get the spillover. That's fine. They want round 1 that bad. We've got like a really good Torviel here too. The only thing I'm worried about is, like, if they hold on to Sword 2 around 3, that's horrible, you know? So I wonder what we're supposed to do. We haven't really seen many commitments. Take a couple more of these. I'm trying to decide if I actually want to thin Aileron if we don't need to, that's the thing. Okay. What don't I want? It's probably going to be something like, you know, something of this sort. Yeah, okay. Maybe we take an Onero for that. Yeah, pass head 5. I just want to get some of this stuff out there. They're playing heavy control. They've got Rebuke. Swordmaster's probably the worst. We want to keep our deploy stuff. And I'm passing anyways at 5. Like, normally, I would click next turn, and then I would play these to reduce the cooldown by 1. But I'm just throwing the points out there. It's like something I want to get rid of. It's something that we just don't, though. There's a bigger threat than this. Everyone's running the same deck, though. Like, everywhere. Spores has nothing here. They'll probably bleed out Scenario. I think I'm supposed to still hold Squirrel. But it's one of those things, okay, I'm willing to take last Onero to get the Squirrel. I also don't want to Waylay, though. Okay, maybe that's alright. Not that we really need the Purify, but... like, I was hoping for one of these, or something with a bit more use. What are they? That doesn't feel like a pushing turn. Yeah. Alyssa seems like a good pass card, right? At least we've got a few. huge win condition for me rests on getting a good swarm, right? If we can get out Verno for a lot of points and stop a lot of the stuff they're working with, then we have a pretty good spot to be in. Now, I wonder if they're just going to try and trade bronzes, right? Do we just dump waylays? Or is that not it? I think we can wait a little longer than that. Because they're going to try and flip these and pad them up quite soon. One thing I don't remember is if they had armory. Like the, or Armor's Workshop. You know what I'm talking about. I don't think they do, because they're running both swords, right? I just don't think there's room for it then. Because I can strip the armor off, and since they basically played one of these, they might have one more left for later. That's disgusting. Okay, we'll get rid of that now. I wish I held the squirrel at this point. I didn't think they were going to use it so soon. Yeah, 9 power is just too strong. And we gotta defend card. That's like the bad part about the whole thing. There. It's like a low tempo play, really. Kinda glad they got rid of that.
Swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn.
Two waylays. We got 3 waylays, right? If I use waylays now, yeah, it's probably better. If I use, the thing is, waylays now means Aileron's coming out very soon. I mean, either way. Yeah, but it gives me space to play a low tempo play, being Feign Death if they try and bleed it out, which they will.
Feign not ignorant. Remember to whom you speak. For the daisy of the valley! Time for you to die, Dwan.
We shall drive the ape men into the sea!
I should have maybe taken it here, because I'm not going to be able to remove that for the extra one, but we got the pass we're looking for. I think that's the important part. If I can get Verno now and Isengrim, and then basically just jam Scenario and do all that, we're good. And the fact that we took away Erendite's actually pretty big, and we used the Echo on the other sword. So, I mean, I'm not super pleased with this. We had the little misplay of missing 1 point, but it's fine. We kept it together and we didn't waste too much, really. Okay. So this is, like, these two don't feel like they do much. And this is probably the least useful. So we miss Verno. That's really big, actually. Here.
Await the signal. Till then, don't budge. A rock toppled, and beneath it a scorpion revealed. Let us sing the song of steel.
You know, they might actually go for the Deadeye instead of the engines, because they think we have the Vernal play coming, which is kind of good, actually. Yeah, okay, they're doing it that way then. We can deal with this, though. Okay, look. We'll get rid of both of them. That's exactly what we want, right?
I'll do so sword in hand.
We still got the 2 leader charges, and then... Okay, I think we got to use them... That's tough, because I kind of want to play this too. Well, they'll take away as much as they can. They've got 4.
Time for you to die, Dwan.
Surely they're going to take away the commando, right? Oh. Okay, that's fine. See, it's kind of what I was thinking. Here. I'm really kind of there. Ysgith has to come down before it gets worse for me. But that's like the absolute best I've got. And we'll wait for damage pings before we do all these flips and stuff. That's too bad. No armor.
Time to die. I'll do so sword in hand.
You know what? Here. That's like the tech. Do I ever flip yet? I'm gonna wait till next turn. They've got Peller. So Peller does nothing for them here. Here. You gotta start stacking a row, right? I guess I am flipping. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that this takes the game, guys. Yeah, they don't have anything to flip. Just in case they play company, though. I forget if they have it. 6 and 7, 3, 6, 7, it's done. And then, actually, it might be Ornate. Yeah, yeah. Alright, so next up here we got Invigorate. And yes, we're above 2400. I'm sure there's going to be something cool going on with this. So, Aileron obviously goes back. Sports and Heatwave are going to be some of the best cards that we can possibly have in this matchup here. This feels a little bit slow. Like, I don't necessarily need it. It's just 8 points, right? Yeah. What I want... Actually, we'll just go Venadane quick. Okay. That feels like something I can remove later. Right, we've got answers to it. The big thing, though, is just, like, obviously dealing with the hand buff. We don't want to ignore it. Okay, so... yeah. Just because I have it, I'll play it. I don't think we're going to be playing the archers. Everything's going to come out pretty strong, like, because the hand buffs. So we'll probably put these back, and then just keep the Bowmans, because they're playing on ranged anyways. And then just go into the Oniro for the Venadane coming up next, just so that we can get that. I wanted to play this first, obviously, because we need to have, you know, this engine getting as much value as possible. It's going to be a rebuke, isn't it? Yeah. Roach. So it's a non-devotion. They might not have Torque then in hand. Like, how do you confirm it, you know? I guess. Here, we're still gonna play into this.
As you command, Daisy.
I'm actually convinced of just keeping these. Like keeping these two. I think they're good cards to play in this round. Play the 2 off it, and then we'll just go back and we'll shuffle them back in later. There's a lot of things that we need to get, like overall. So I think I'm willing to go and even let, you know, the Aileron out this round. Like we got to thin enough that we get Simlas at least. Simlas and Verno.
Illusions.
That's just something I have no tolerance for. Here.
For the Daisy of the Valley!
Humans to the sea!
That's what I'm talking about. I was worried for a bit because they started to pull away. But the fact that most of their points are banked into one card is pretty good. Shaping Nature. Interesting. They go for Bountiful here. Oh, okay, that's fine. And we got to play our last elf, otherwise, you know, we're kind of missing some opportunity here, so... There's maybe an argument to take it on this, our last Waylay. I just didn't know what they're doing. They're gonna Megascope this. Okay, we'll deal with that at least. See, that's what I'm talking about. Being able to remove that would have saved 2 points. But then if we don't, then we lose this. Oh, there's too many of them.
I could drown you in a single drop.
Okay. I think we still just...
You're dead already.
The problem is they're going to use this one to heal this one, and then just use this one. They only get a 4. It's alright, because they're putting the points into the same few cards. So we've still got a couple good targets here. Good that they used that, because we're going to Spores that shortly. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I take this first. And then they go, yeah, 36. It's a really good. $17 on the ring. Yeah, I think it's a good trade. With ring at 9 provision now, and we just take a heat wave for 20 or for 10. It's pretty good. This plays subpar because they don't have devotion. I think Yaven's gonna be 3, 6.
We were not the ones to start this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. And this is probably where they pass. Gourd.
Used to chop wood, but the pay's better for souls.
If I play this, I win the round. If I don't play it, then we risk pulling into a bunch of garbage. But it could be a whoever top decks better game. I think I'm supposed to do that because, look, boost. Isn't it boost 4 units by 1? They might not even have that. They might have specials. And so if we just get Verno. Okay, Alyssa's here. Perfect. Okay, I tried. Yeah, boost 4 units in your hand by 1, charge 3. You see?
Dogs that bark
Choose the
self-delight.
leftmost, put a couple back in. We've got it right. 4. Yeah, like it always feels bad using that Ysgith around like that, but I think it's fun. There's no way. We'll just take... Look. Yeah. So coming up next here we got Fruits of Ysgith Monsters, and this is one of those ones that can probably go either way, right? We either can control the swarm or we can't. I think that it's going to cost something expensive early on, right? Maybe scenario. Yeah, because if I get bled out of scenario, it's worse than if I just give it up early. This could be good. This could be great. Again, I kind of have to tech for Erendite. We kind of have to tech for... Okay, honestly, one of them has to go. That's a bit better. I'd love to just heat wave it, but it doesn't really make a big difference. It's going to be range that we play this. Cards to put back in deck, it's going to be 1. And they're probably going to stack melee, so this plays for 8, this plays for 6. Now we get 9 points per turn off these, which is honestly about the same as what they're putting out, right? They put megascopes down and then they're just getting 9 points, give or take.
They say you are what you eat.
In order to actually do what I want to do, we got to kill this in 1 turn. Because if I do this now, they're just going to boost it. But I think we have to let them do it, because if I go and take a Simlas or a Heatwave on the Self Eater, it's just like a losing line, really. Yeah, watch, they'll do it, 100%. It just sucks for them that everything's coming onto the same row, so they're going to be losing good value on the Self Eater. Unless they're trying to build this one super tall. There, if they keep it going, I'll take Yavin, get it over with.
Humans to the sea!
If they split, then we can remove one of them. Oh, it's not enough. Yeah, it's gotta be the other one. 32, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's gotta be this one.
No existence, no such thing. Blueberries, blueberries, the lady of the woods.
I have nothing I can do except for playing this, really. Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Maybe we get a good squirrel? No.
You're dead already.
That's the best I can do. I'm just glad that they, you know, went out with 20 more points. Ring of Favor was banished. They have Erendite, of course. Golden Neckar's probably going to come out in round 2 on us. So basically, I just got to be prepared to play everything. And I've been seeing Summoning Circle lately too with it. It's possible they have it. This is too slow. That's good. I want like one more good card, you know? There, that's perfect for Sabbath. They definitely have Bleeding Confidence, though. 9. How many Megascopes they play? 1? Okay. I honestly... No games. I think that they're going to go and scope that with Golden Nekkar next turn. I've seen this before. I'd rather just take the Heat Wave because it's playing for like 18 points. Let's see. This will help us.
Know that I was trained by Clara
So now we've got
herself.
the 4. Good. And I want to stay ahead.
You're one sexy witch and I'm here to please.
I'm really trying to hold on to a few things, right? Verno was good here, but Verno was really good in short round. This might be too much of a commitment, but it might actually be smart. I think it's actually going to be this, because it plays up. Keeps them further from Sabbath. I really don't want to spend these, like, they're huge. And if they play Erendite, we've got... Okay, that's going to be Golden Nekkar off the Naglfar. Yeah, so they're looking for that 2-0. Dealing for 4, okay. So I think we have to. Yeah, I'm just going to do it.
Only one with no sense would trust the word of a dwarf. Time to die. I'll do so sword in hand. Araran has shown us the way.
Sitting on about a 20-point lead. And then this way, if they play something, please be Erendite off that. It's a lock. Erendite for what now? 12? Good. Good. And they have a horrible Megascope too. Just place for what, 6 points? Yeah, we're good. Where is it? There we go. Now they're gonna get +6, which means I have to play a card, right?
Don't make me laugh.
No worries. Sins of the flesh.
41. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I mean, we just take... I think we take this. Yeah, we keep scenario.
Aim between the eyes. Leave none alive.
We keep the leader charge. They get the 8 points on me, but I get the card on them plus the leader. I think it's better. Especially because it's Feign Death. If I can pull Ysgith and a couple archers, we just win the game. That's fine. That's what we'll do. One. Actually, this first. This. I don't know. They actually probably have Toad Prince.
May your sword and arm be one.
It's definitely... Like, we know they have all their cards. And it's also possible they have Summoning Circle in this one. Yeah, Toad Prince. It's so predictably boring, right? Like, every single sequencing is the same in every single matchup. And if they win this game, I'll be surprised because we've done everything I think we're supposed to do. I think I have to take one of the archers, though, off the token when it gets to 3. So they're taking back a 9 and bring... Okay, they're just going to take it safe. Yeah, it's still... We got to go for the widest play, right?
I never miss.
Boost by 6. Unbelievable.
These will be your gravestones.
And so we got off the books coming up here next. Put back Ailerin. Toss back one of the waylays as well. I would anticipate them playing around the bowman, but I think it's still fine. If they have something like task collectors, it gets really good value. This will help kill it. It's probably something like this, right? Now, it would be really nice to be able to save scenario here. I'm going to do what I can and just see how it works. If I got this going with these, right? And then the Venedane, like, we might have something here. Gotta find out if they're devotion too. Oh, that's different. That's just something you can't plan for, I guess. When I see this, I think Golden Dekkar, Salamander. We'll take this now, so at least we can reset the cooldown and get just a little bit more value off of it. And if they don't poison, do we ever just flip it? It's a little late for that.
Dwan will not be heard.
I'm putting stuff at the bottom of the deck. One of these is not a bad thing to put. Just because it might get kind of ugly, right? Like finding the death blows could be hard. If they put down a 4, we hit it once, then we've got 2. But doing that a second time's bad. That's the card back I should have equipped. Shout out to the Pope's Pigeon for buying that card back for me on stream. It's one of my favorite ones right now. I love the animated card backs. This one just went with the board, so I was like an auto equip.
Best commodity in town, I swear it.
It's a good swing. You know, fortunately, I'm not really worried about this deck so far. Just because it's like an unconventional one. And when I see unconventional off the books, I think that there's more margin for error. Obviously, they have some really strong cards, though, in Syndicate, so we gotta be careful. That's something I gotta deal with right now, too. But if they continue to play, we got the 2 off that. That's fine too. That might push them out of the rounds. It might even push me out of the rounds. I feel like one more turn's kind of like the nail in the coffin though, right? Just getting out. Yeah, both of those. Okay, so did we really commit anything? Not really, you know? If I can get Alyssa, Heatwave, and Simlas, like, we push. Okay, this goes back. This goes back. I kind of have it, though, don't I? Kind of. Like, we'd pull Alyssa to do that, but we wouldn't have that the same amount as that. But I think that's fine. I think we can bleed with Scenario, and then at the end, do that. And then get out. You know what I mean? Because then we pull into Simlas short round 3, and hopefully we get our Yavin. That's the only tough part. It's really all we're missing, though. Okay. Let's try. Again, let's have a look at their deck here. They haven't played gold cards, but I have a suspicion that it's like one of those decks. What did I tell you? Whenever you gain 2 coins, this with Jackpot would be really good. We gotta progress the scenario.
You're dead already.
Okay. This is like a hero move here.
Waste of arrows, that lot.
Probably on this, because the engines, yeah, and these are already poisoned. Again, so far, mid-range. So far, Roach. Usually you're not seeing Roach in decks right now outside of Golden Neckar, just because it's an expensive thin, but if you're running 9 and down, then you've got room to do things like this. Morale is kind of confirming what I'm thinking. You know what? Let's just wipe. Let's just wipe the board. Of course. Anything but morale. Whatever, it's fine. I've got actually perfect setup for the Archer. We'll take Archer because I think it's fast enough. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? And then we'll take Ysgith. But we might have to actually look at Simlas being a well, no. We talked about doing the other thing, right? That's a good swing.
You fear me, I sense it, I smell it.
We gotta stick with it here. Nah, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be Ysgith. Okay, Pellar's good to see. Erendite's not gonna be worth a lot. And then, what is that, Summoning Circle? Okay. Sure. For what, though? Okay. Procession just gets the heat wave, I guess.
No mercy!
Gotta be careful, because I think that they're gonna take Savola, right? Poison out of 6. It's kind of slow. I've got room. Take that. I think I can save Heatwave for round 3. I don't think we actually play it here. Well, we know we don't have King of Beggars. They will Siri though soon. I'm sure of it. It would be bad if they missed it. Keep in mind at the end of the turn they get 12 points, right? So that plus Savola would be 18. It's like a huge play. And it looks like they're doing it actually.
Take no prisoners! No prisoners!
I'm good with that. Honestly, I think that's fine. Now, if they play Nova, horrible for us. If they don't have Nova, then, you know, it's not bad. I don't think they have it if they're not pulling it right now. I feel like that's what they were going for low-key when they played Pellar, when they were going for, it's probably in deck. Otherwise, they would have just slapped it down and passed. Now, we're going to be pulling into Simlas with the 4. Okay? And then if we get something like Yavin, we shouldn't lose. Yeah, that's basically it. We're good. And Erendite's at what? 5? Versus my Heatwave? I don't think it really matters. We gotta be careful with the mulligans, though. Like, that's as much as I feel like doing. I don't know what other points they have. They've got bronzes left. Look. You see what I mean? 9, 6, 8, 9, 8, 9, 7, 7, 9, 9. They have some 5s being played too. Maybe a spender. Like, maybe they can fit Freak Show. Or there's that. We'll just, what is Heat Wave, whatever's tallest.
May your sword and arm be one.
I think we take away their spender, because if they go wide with like the Firesworn tokens, they can separate those and actually get a lot of value that way. If they want to do the whole no unit thing, I can do that too, you know? I'll play Yavin for 4 points, I'm not afraid to. Actually, we'll just take this out. Nine coin. If they go tall with like a jackal, they've got it. But if it's damage, they don't. And I don't think that they're running jackals. I'm worried about them also having a freak show. Because if they have Freak Show and I play Simlas first, they just start taking out everything, and they've got full bank +4. It could be Morils as well. So now we just gotta remove this. We should just be good unless they have like a huge point swing one. That's fine. It's fine. They're gonna forfeit. That was the play to make, yeah. And for the last game of the day, we've got Overwhelming Hunger, Monsters, and I kind of hope that it's just like a regular Death Wish deck, you know? Seeing Vile come down makes me think it might be V. We can... I don't know. Squirrel just seems to be like MVP in whatever I play. At least with this one here, we go second. And I kind of like when Vile thins out because, again, our deck is pretty standard, but the opponent's might not be. So it helps me out quite a bit. Okay, earn. Yeah, this is just regular Death Wish. Okay. We're okay with that, right? Yeah. Yeah, on blue coin too. Who cares? And that was for Neuromancy, right? I think I did what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, they're playing that Redea one. Interesting. Just need to have another look at it. So, this is gone. This is gone. It's just a bunch of bad cards in the bronze end. So the whole thing is like this, like these two, and this being really big for them. Okay. 28 points. I don't know if I'm supposed to lose this to a heat wave now. If I play it, they might be able to save the heat wave. Maybe we try and get heat wave out with this. We're putting stuff back in the deck. I want 4 later. We'll just play these and kind of move on. They could have actually removed... They could have removed... Yeah. If they procced this and then maybe consumed this, they would have maybe hit that. I don't know.
If I'm to die, I'll do so sword in hand.
I'm not too worried about this. I am about this, though. This deck has a really good upper end. Just the bronzes are bad. Like, Manicore is going to play for 2-3 points. I think I'm supposed to play this down a little bit. Good snipe. Yeah, we'll take. Just kind of have another look here. I'm willing to lose on even. There, that's fine. We've got like a lot of game left in us here. And the thing is, like, I just heat wave the Arrakis and we're good. Put this back for now. Great. I think when... Yeah. That's also something we don't like. They play this, they consume, and then they heat wave, and they take everything, right? So I feel like we have to deal with this right away. And they know it too, which is why they float it. But this, on the other hand, is not too bad. wish I had a lock.
Let us sing the song of steel.
Because I don't want them to take out two things. Like, if they go and they use the Arrakis right now, they consume it, and then they get a second one. There's that too. That comes back in round 3. I don't really have much I'd want to play. Is it ever just Aileron? Or is it maybe, you know what? No, we take the damage always, even if it's subpar. Because then we just do the hit and we get the second one that works. That's way better. Yeah, way better. We save the carryover and everything. I just don't think that they had the hand to make it happen. But what I am worried about, though, is like the whole haunt thing with the double dead laugh. Like, that could be a huge problem. Okay, so this can go, and that can go, right? Perfect. I think that's about as good as we're gonna get, right? Put this down to get it started. We'll try and take Alyssa as soon as possible. They played a lot. Like, we got the Heat Wave, Mana Core, all that stuff out of the way. It's kind of nice that we... It's just, I can't do anything about this. But yeah, it's kind of nice that we traded the Heat Wave in round 2, because it's one of those things where what would we do otherwise? Here.
In each of us dwells both chaos and order, good and evil.
We should have a 4, 3, 4. That itself is going to play for a lot of points. And their deck thinned down to 3 cards too, so it should just be pretty good as far as them pulling what they need, right? I'm not really relying on them, like, not having that. We're going to be pulling 4, 5 out of our deck. Brings us down to 7, which is not bad. Would have been 5 if we had this throughout the game. They're playing it slow, like they either haven't played it before, or they don't have what they need. I don't want to remove that, but at the same time I don't. Wow, there's a lot of stuff I want to play, but I can't. I think I'm supposed to take Verno, actually, like as a defensive play. We'll chip that down because that's going to be growing when they play Death Wish. I don't think they're going to take a consume on it right away. They might do their play here, right? I feel like I'm supposed to take a screenshot when I load up Vile. I don't know if that's really like... I don't, and I'm too lazy to. But like, even though I see what's in their deck, I sometimes forget a couple things. Okay, this is the play that I'm worried about. Oh, you know what? This seems like a stupid play, but I've done this before, okay? They're going to consume this and make a whole new Dettlaff, and it's going to kill us. So I actually think I'm supposed to go and take all the waylays off of it,
One with no sense would trust the word of a dwarf.
so that they can't do that.
To die, dwarf. Racists.
We shall drive the ape men into the sea.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, what they have left is just mana core and a couple bronzes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, we're running low. I'm gonna take out one of these because consumes are obviously not ideal for me here. And I think with that we should just be good. 3, 6, 8. We've got 9 damage coming from that. Huge damage swing here. Fill up the back row and just use Ysgith. If they play Mana Core, we get a little bit more free space, right? Is that what they wanted? I'm gonna say...
Time for you to die, dwarf.
Just because I don't know what I'm gonna use it for yet, you know? Okay, never mind.